Oh, hi there.
Ohio.
Oh, hi there. How are you, my friend?
I'm incredibly sore
Why are you sore?
because I have bad plans.
Oh,
Because
do you now?
I don't think things through always.
Whoops.
Uh, so in taking the little ones out for trick or treating, instead of well, I thought I was going to take the little one just for a couple houses and bring him back right away.
Sure.
So and I didn't bother getting like a stroller or wagon or whatever, which would have made it much easier. But I ended up doing a bunch of houses with him, and I just carried him most of the way.
Huh. Okay.
So yeah, my arms are sore. He's getting heavy, man.
Goody the big boy.
Yeah, he's getting big.
Yeah, he the big boy. All right. Okay. Cheers.
Yeah,
Cheers.
so nice and sore.
Nice and sore.
Well, if your arms are sore, I can think of one activity that's off the table.
Is it
Well,
bowling?
I'm not. Yeah, I can still do the other thing. I'm not that vigorous when I do it. So
Yeah, I imagine that's a very, 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 very lazy activity for our friend Steve.
and we're all talking about making a cake, right? Mixing batter,
Some sort of batter, yes.
because that's what I'm talking.
Some sort of a natural adhesive that can often be used as pudding.
I am discussing the Great British Baking Show.
Yeah. Every time I think of what you do, I think of Noel Fielding too.
That's what I'm calling it from now
Yeah,
on.
100%. Baby, what are you doing in there? Oh, just finished up the Great British Baking Show. I feel very relaxed. I got to tell you, this is
It's a very relaxing show.
it's a very relaxing show. I love it when the yeast rises. Welcome to the Save versus Poison podcast, the podcast dedicated to gaming, general geekery, and enduring sobriety in an ever maddening society. With your host, Will, and two guys that probably live under his stairs. If you're an addict, know an addict, or are just interested in exploring the outer mysteries of geekery, you're in the right place. Without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's great to be here. My name is Will. I am your host for this Season 4, Episode 20. We just keep churning them out. Every week, keeping on that sobriety train. Just living our best lives, everyone. Living our absolutely best lives, which makes me very excited. Makes me very excited to be here. But I'm not the only one that's here. Joining me tonight, he's the kind of guy that has no problem going up to random people and asking them, "What does my finger smell like?" He's my friend Steve.
That is untrue. I don't like talking to strangers.
I didn't say talking to them. You walk up to them, say that, and go.
No, because then they're gonna try to engage me. Like I just don't.
Nobody's
I don't like
engaging
it.
you
I don't
after
like
you
it.
ask them what your finger smells like, Steve.
They will.
Nobody on earth.
They're gonna
Nobody
be
on.
like-
Hold on, let me smell it. Bring it closer.
No, they're gonna be like,
Right on top of my
Why does it smell
mustache,
like that?
please.
Okay, you don't just walk up to somebody in the middle of the street asking survey questions and not letting them answer.
Survey questions. Does it smell like A, B, or C? Kind of like
why
that.
does your whole hand smell like mustard?
The usual reasons, I guess. Also joining me tonight, he's so socially awkward that the last time he did karaoke, he just got up there on stage and sang happy birthday to himself. He's our friend Ticky. What's up, Ticky?
Yeah, that was actually my Yoko Ono tribute. So. Also did a
Nice.
lot of squatting and screeching. Woo! Yeah.
That's all right. I kind of want to see that happen. I want that to Can we find a sober karaoke bar? Normally you need the booze to get up there,
Yeah.
but not this time. This time it's just for the story, right? Yeah. Let's do it for the story. What's going on, guys? Steve, you first. How are you?
I am sore,
Sore.
as we discussed. Very sore.
Did you
carrying
do
a small child around?
Did you do a thing with a small child?
I did.
Perhaps
Took,
yesterday?
both the children out for the trick-or-treating. It was a good time.
Yeah.
They had fun. So, it was cool. It was nice to get back to that, the last couple years, pandemic-y, and, the wife was kind of sketch about it even last year.
Yeah.
It was nice to see a lot of kids out there, a lot of houses. I think were ready to do it. Tons of my oldest got so many full size candy bars.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole neighborhood seemed to be, maybe not the whole neighborhood. A lot of people in the neighborhood were giving out full size, so that was kind of cool.
I find that so fascinating. So first of all, I can't think of Halloween as anything but the neighborhood candy exchange program, because we all buy the same amount of candy, and then we just give it away to other people, and then suddenly it just ends up back in our houses if we have kids. And then I've got a little bit of extra, so I'm like, well, I can't eat this because,
But
the whole...
That's when you think about it, that's a very adult perspective, right? Think about when you were a kid. Think about the quote unquote magic of Halloween.
No. I from a kid's perspective, I totally it's like treasure. You're going out there to get treasure.
Exactly.
For an adult, though, I just look at that bowl and I'm like, we could save the time and sit here and watch, hockey or something. Just eat this, right? Dear children, candy. You don't have to go for a hike before you get cavities. We can just do this right here.
Yeah, I think the other thing you have to remember is that the number of times that children have been poisoned on Halloween have actually been very few, and it's usually by their parents. So staying home even riskier than going out.
Wow, I did not know that, but
I wasn't sure where that was going.
Yeah, I didn't know where that one was going. I did not, considering where you work, though. I was worried.
Don't poison your children.
Don't poison your children. Yeah, the Save versus Poison podcast says don't poison your children.
That's the PSA right there.
No, I appreciate that.
The more you know, that's what I was going for.
Da, 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 da. Thank you for bringing that up, Ticky. Appreciate that. Good PSA. Good PSA. Ticky, how are you, man?
I'm all right. Like I said, just been working. First bit of work, there's not a whole lot of nobody's really bothering me. Just a whole lot of people are like, here's a pile of paperwork to read through. That's novels of white papers. It's just awesome. But it's going to be really cool. I'm excited about that.
Anybody slip in a copy of the Watchtower halfway through to try to indoctrinate you into being a Jehovah's Witness?
No, that didn't happen.
That'd be funny.
My boss is pretty cool. My teammates are, like I said, they're pretty cool. I haven't had any real complaints. Just been playing video games otherwise with our friend Russ.
Was our good friend of the show, Russ.
Yep. And the one thing I will say is they and this might be more for the video game section, but they did update Hunt Showdown so that weapons and other types of consumable gears like dynamite and things like that can be found more readily throughout the entire environment in certain places more consistently.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which means that if we wanted to do say a naked run where you don't actually have any weapons to start off and you find weapons, you could actually do that, and it would actually be pretty interesting. Because it'd be a lottery every time you go.
Huh.
What you're going to get. So it was a pretty interesting. We were talking about doing that maybe in the future.
Cheers.
Cheers. And that one you don't have to take seriously because you really shouldn't have any expectation of a long life.
I can't not take that game serious. I don't know why. It's the nature of my being hyper competitive and knowing that the way that you win that game is by killing other players. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we talked about just basically making it when you do those runs, instead of doing the searching for the boss layer and all that, all your real purpose is to get from point A to point B across the map. There isn't really as much of a
I'm changing the focus. I just want to go from hut B to hut Z on the other side.
That's it. That's it. That's all you need to do. Yeah. So
That's interesting.
it could be fun. Anyway, that was just the discussion today about that. But other than all the other kind of crazy stuff in my life, in terms of what we were talking about just before
You
this.
got to bring that up because that's hysterical.
Okay, so like
That's so fucking funny, dude.
So we touch base on this again. This is, and for the listeners that we like, people who've listened know that I don't have like a really great like communication with my own family. My little brother calls me to check up on me to say, hey, what's up? What are you doing? I had talked to my dad when I got a new job. When I got my new job, he and I were talking about that, and he mentioned that he had been dating a woman. It came up, and I said, cool. And he kind of described it, and it seemed like it was a pretty casual thing at the time. Like they live in different states right now. There's different ideas about lifestyles, but he's they talk like all the time. They text all the time. He has a really good relationship with her. I was like, well, that's great. That's awesome. So I get a call a few days later from my little brother who says, hey, I just got a letter from Dad, like a paper letter. And I said, why?
Delivered by
That's
Raven.
weird. Delivered by Raven or by Owl. Yeah, Fox. By Fox.
Did you just slip in a Mel Brooks quote? Thank you,
He
Steve.
did. He just slipped in Robin and Men in Tights there. So anyway, so my brother goes, did you know Dad's getting married? And I was like, no. And I was like, why do you say that? He goes, it's a wedding invite. Dad just sent me a damn wedding invite. And I was like, oh shit. I don't have a wedding invite from him yet. He goes, is he dating someone? And I'm like, yeah, he's been dating someone. I can't remember her name, but he is dating someone, and now he's getting married. And my little brother's like, and it's for the 22nd? It's a fucking Tuesday? How can anyone? It's in San Antonio. How can anyone get there? Like, this doesn't make it, like, why would you do that? Like, it was like, yeah, that's the communication system of my family.
I swear to God, tomorrow you're going to get a letter from him, again, by Fox, that says, thank you very much for planning my bachelor party. Like,
Yeah.
that's going to be the next thing that like gets sprung on you.
You just expect it.
Like, you're just expected to be there and expected to have a tux and expected to get somebody to grind on him.
It makes no sense. Like this whole thing. It's like I just talked to him. Okay, so getting wedding invites made takes time. It's not something that happens like you don't just and everything mailed and all of that. And it was what I'm getting at is he knew. He fucking knew when he and I talked on the phone that he was getting married, and he didn't say shit about that.
Mentioned it.
He's just sitting there like making a wedding invite, like talking to me on the phone, got the phone like tapped into his shoulder, tucked in underneath his chin. He's like, yeah, totally, yeah. So anyway, I'm kind of dating. It's kind of casual right now, but I'm dating
the Phillies
this gal.
and the Astros, huh?
Yeah, it's like, why is this so? This doesn't. It had to have been because I started my new job on the 24th. I got the wedding invite on the first. It's been a week. Holy crap! It's been a week. Oh, it takes 3 days to mail. Why?
I don't know why our parents are incapable of like keeping us informed of the shit that goes on in their lives that could possibly be important.
Yeah, it's like
I don't get that at all.
See, for me though, it's not like major events. At least with mine, it's just like random relative died.
So here's the thing, though. I think that on the spectrum of who has good relations with their parents, I think that you're at one end, I'm in the middle, and Ticky's at the other end.
It certainly feels
I
that
think
way,
that's how that goes, because I think your dad is like constantly involved. Like he tells you about like I am. You have like conversations with him, right? Like the conversations I have with my mother are about politics or culture, and that's it. We don't talk about like anything interfamilial. And the conversations with my dad are how's soccer, how's work, what are you going to do after you retire? And I get answers to 2 of those, and that's it. For Ticky, though, I feel like he got a handwritten getting married on this day and it was written on the back of like an old bill envelope. Like his dad opened up an envelope, pulled the bill out, paid the bill, was like, oh, I guess I should probably tell my son about this, and then wrote out, Dear Ticky, I'm getting married. See you in November. And then sent it off.
More of a debate in his head. Like, he was like, should I tell them? Yeah, I guess I can write a letter.
You know what? They can find out a couple of different ways. You know what we could do? Share pictures of the event after it's happened.
Yeah.
That'll just imply, and nobody will actually have to say what happened. It's just, you know, the plus side is at least it wasn't a funeral that he announced this at this time. So hey, getting better.
I just like I feel like he sends you a clipping from like a local newspaper that's just like, local San Antonio man gets married, no children involved.
It's their wedding announcement.
Yeah, that's their wedding announcement. That was it. That's what you get. That's what, like a Xeroxed copy of it too, not even an original.
No. You know what it'd be? My dad would actually, it'd be behind a paywall, and he would just basically like send me the link. So that
You'd have to like, pay $5 for it for subscription to find out about your dad's wedding.
Then you got the San Antonio
so
Alamo paper. Like, it's like, well, what am I looking at here? Why am I? Oh fuck! Really? Like, you made me pay for this?
What am I looking at? What am I looking for?
Now I'm gonna 1-year subscription to the San Antonio Sun or whatever the hell it is, and
I just like this is the kind of like, I don't know your dad's name, and I don't want you to say it out loud because we don't do the doxing thing. But in my head, his name is Jerry, and all I can think is fucking Jerry. That's all I can think. Fucking Jerry.
This huge, this whole thing, and it's like this communication. It's like my mom called me the other day to tell me that she was breaking up with her boyfriend, and I'm like, okay, why? Like, you just moved out to like basically have more freedom and hang out with him. She's like, I could see his emails on my phone, and I'm like, and I think he hacked into my phone. Trust me, he does not know how to hack into your phone, Mom. He is a retiree. He doesn't know how to hack into your phone. He just did something dumb and probably so. You know what? She went nuts and she's like, "I'm gonna break up with him." And I'm like, "Cool."
Your mom's like, "He kept trying to high five me after sex." I was like, "It wasn't that good, man."
I don't want to hear about that part either. I was just like, "Okay."
Just the high fiving part, not the actual sex.
She's asking me about all these things, and I'm like, I don't have, like, I'm, like, she wants to know about like cybersecurity stuff, and I'm like, I can't explain that to you. This is just, it's going to go over your head, or you're not going to listen. So that point of communication is also fucked. And then it's the opposite end of where my dad is like, hey, by the way, life event, guess which one?
Guess, you're graduating high school.
What are you talking about? Like, yeah, what does this even mean? And my mom's like wanting to call and give me all sorts of details. And I'm like, I don't need to hear most of that, to be honest. Like, if you're not, yeah. So it just, oh my God.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a follow-up joke. Not follow-up joke. Sorry, not a follow-up joke. Not a follow-up joke. Follow-up question. I have a lot of jokes in my head right now. I want to ask you a follow-up question. Does any of this make you want to drink?
That's
it. Nothing else did.
No, it actually doesn't. But it's one of those things where if you looked at my family, knowing this bit about everything that I've just, which by the way is 100% true of what's just happened in my life, my family being this bad at communication, this bad at being open about pretty much anything at all, and then people are like, hey, why is Ticky all weird about this and this and that? It's kind of odd that he fell into an alcoholic kind of thing, huh? Yeah, weird, isn't it? It's almost like I had a shitty, right now it's the absurdity, and I'm laughing about it because it is absolutely absurd.
I mean, when you say it out loud, yeah, you go, huh, really? But if I were to draw a map of you to alcoholism, yeah, I can see it. I can visualize that.
It would have to go through this maze of my family
with one left turn and one right turn, and that's it.
Yeah,
That's all.
It was like, and it's just so like this is still like it's still the weird thing with I'm like, I don't know, like, does he think I'm going to judge him? Like, I'm getting married. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm more pissed off that I found out this way than I'm sure that he thinks that it would have been. Like, I would have been pissed off if he had just told me outright.
Yeah.
Let's say, I don't know, a week ago when he and I talked.
When you were on the phone with him.
It's on the phone.
It's like, maybe, okay, all right, benefit of the doubt. Maybe he got off the phone, looked at her and said, you know,
I was supposed to tell you.
You're the one. Let's get married. I can't call him back or anything to tell him, but that's too much fucking work, all right? I'm gonna pay long distance? No way.
Yeah, it's like, oh, but you could have texted me. There's any number of ways you could have told me right then and there, instead of like ambushing me with, you know, like we were saying earlier, like preparing like a cake and then having this at the bottom of it. And he's like, here you go. And like a week later, I get through all the cake and I'm like, what's this note at the bottom?
Yeah. Like you get through. He sends you the cake like 2 days before the wedding, and you don't finish the cake until after the wedding. And you're like, hey, can't wait to see you on blah blah blah. And you're like, you sent me a 3-layer cake. I was supposed to eat that all at once and then decipher your fucking message? No chance. No shot.
Yeah, if he wasn't, I'm surprised there wasn't some sort of like my dad's like own personal like encryption cipher that I had to break. Like, what is this weird thing with all these symbols? Like the fucking, you know,
what is this?
Zodiac. It's like the Zodiac killer like
fucking
cipher.
Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, I'm like,
quit reading Dan Brown.
My dad's like, hey, you know, he's like, I sent you something. Better read through that before November 22nd. Like, what? What is gonna happen? Is there? What? So anyway, I have now cracked the code, and I do not feel any better about it. I'm impressed. I'm really, really impressed that I didn't just get the wedding announcement behind a paywall from the San Antonio like newspaper.
Sure.
That's actually more I would have really, really expected it. But
that's fucking funny.
Yeah, dude. So that's how have I been? It's the absurdity of this particular event. And it's like I said, he used like 3 weeks notice, like, hey, we're gonna do this in the middle of the fucking Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, who gets married on a Tuesday? Somebody doesn't want anyone there.
Yeah, somebody who's like, just send me the gifts.
Yeah. Why send me the invite?
He's doing everything in his power to invite you, but also so that there's no way you can actually come.
You're like, Dad, why didn't you give me a proper invite? It didn't get there in time. Oh man, I'm so sorry.
This way he can be mad at you for not showing up.
But then he also knows that I won't be there because I simply can't get there.
Wow.
It's so absurd. It is so freaking absurd. It's
fucking
just
classy, bro. Fucking classy.
It is. Yeah. So anyway, that's one part of how I've been. Job is cool, liking the new job.
Awesome.
Family stuff, we'll call it a bit of a wash. Yeah, not that great.
Okay. Cheers. Cheers to the Wash family. Wow.
A bit of a wash.
Bit of a wash. All right. Speaking of things that are a bit of a wash, actually, it's not. My name's Will. I'm an alcoholic.
My name's Ticky, and I'm an alcoholic.
My name's Steve. I am not an alcoholic. But one 4th of July, I looked out the window, and I saw a very good friend of mine who listens to this podcast stick a bottle rocket in his teeth, light it, and let it go. And I only bring this up to say, happy birthday, John. You made it around the sun yet again.
Oh, and doing things like turning your face into a bottle for a bottle rocket.
It is shocking that you've gotten this many revolutions.
How many times has this person had to regrow eyebrows?
As far as I know, this was the only time he shot a bottle rocket out of his teeth.
Okay.
But this is also the inventor of a game called Danger Darts.
I feel like this has lawn darts as part of the...
Yeah, that's exactly
right. You'd think it was lawn darts, but it's not. It's a regular dartboard and darts that you take
Put your
out
face on
into
it.
the dark. You take it out of the dark. You throw them up in the sky, and you try to catch it with the dartboard.
Oh my god!
These are genius plans.
I see John being like, "Yeah, I got my ball pierced this weekend. How'd you do that? I was playing danger darts. I missed."
Somebody like
he would tell me these stories, and like some of them, because I was there for the bottle rocket, not there for the danger darts, and the thought that comes to my mind is that none of these thoughts even crossed my mind to try. Like
you weren't like, you know what, that sounds like a great game. You didn't
exactly.
You didn't think
no
that?
Point in my life was I was like, let's go throw darts in the dark. So yes, again,
there's so much
happy birthday.
Right and wrong with all of that.
I just like, I feel like there's a part of me that would have really loved to have cheered this on.
Yeah, no, you watch it. Like, I watched from inside the window as he lit the fireworks.
Like Steve and I just standing there at the window looking at John about to play danger darts. Him looking at us and us both nodding and smiling at him like, yeah, this is a great idea. You should do this, buddy.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up all the way around. You didn't want to grow a goatee, right? All that hair around your face, that's going bye-bye.
I mean, it's an extreme way to give yourself a little Hitler mustache, is all I'm saying.
Well, happy birthday, man. I'm amazed you made it. Like, quite literally. He actually, he hopped into YouTube chat the other day while I was running a game of Hell Let Loose. So it was just a real quick kind of, tester game. I think I was on for like I was only on for like 45 minutes. But he pops in, he's like, "Hey, what game is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Hell Let Loose." And he texts back, "Oh, I guess I could have just read it in the title." I was like, "You could have, but I like that you asked because I get to interact with you, buddy."
Yep,
so
interacting. That's key.
Interacting is 100% key. I need more people. I need more people on the podcast to
friend of the show.
For YouTube.
Did you see all that communication? You see how that worked out?
Worked out beautifully, I think.
It is, and so the podcast usually gets posted on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording specifically today on Tuesday, or not a usual day, and it is his actual birthday. So happy birthday!
Happy birthday, brother!
Oh, cool! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, man! That's awesome. Not much of a psyop there, Steve. Fun mental exercise, but not much of a psyop.
It was more of a, like I said, it was a sending out birthday wishes to somebody who does things that are questionable.
Speaking of shouting things out, anybody that needs a plumber, the guy who did all the plumbing down here in the basement, I'm not going to throw out his last name, but Justin, if you're listening to this episode, you said that you've listened to a couple of them and you dig it. Thanks so much for listening. And if anybody needs a plumber, I know a guy, and he is absolutely excellent. He also plays puck, so he's a certified badass in my opinion. So thanks to Justin for tuning in from kind of I wouldn't have guessed it. Would not have guessed it that like. I don't think he's an alcoholic, and I don't think he's a gamer. So, like, we totally missed our target demographic on picking him up. But good game. Go team. Back on the alcoholism tip. Right now, it's really easy for me to not drink, even when I do have the mild cravings. My fitness goals, mixed with the stuff that I've been reading lately, have all been this really good net against any kind of fuck up that I could possibly contemplate right this second. I'm not saying it will be in the future, but right now, between the fitness goals, which are uplifting, and the books I've been reading, which are all cautionary tale shit. So, like, I get done reading it and I'm like, fuck. Those are sad stories. Man, I've got it better off than those people do. I really want to stay in a good place. Let's not drink. Okay, Will. those beers are delicious. No. Stop that thinking. You're okay. So I really don't, I'm not having a hard time right now. There were a couple of days, a couple of weeks ago where things were a little tiny bit rough, but for the most part, I'm doing okay, in my sobriety. Ticky, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same spot. Although if everybody's giving out shout outs, you got recommendations for parents who communicate better, and they're looking for a adult age son. Hit me up.
We're looking for adoption opportunities in a late model child.
Yeah, I know. I'm not having any real issues with cravings. I've just been kind of cruising along on my own. There was a big Halloween party up north, up north from where I live, just north of Denver. They got invited to. I was really kind of excited to go at first, and then I kind of got some really bad nerves. This is Saturday night, and I was thinking about it's gonna be this big club scene. Everyone's gonna be drinking. It just the large crowds, the anxieties, the alcohol that would be there, all kind of got me a little bit worked up, and I wound up bailing out on it. So, which kind of sucked because you want to go there and and impress the ladies, and I kind of felt like I was chickening out, but at the same time I was also knowing that I'd prioritize my health, my physical and mental health.
Yeah.
Above having a fun time for one night. But other than that, yeah, I've been having a really good time.
But if you got spooked, I think that you made the right decision then.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had some I think just a little bit of reluctance and concern about going, and I just said no, I'm not, and I just decided that I'm not going.
Gotcha.
And got some pictures from the crew that was there, and it was very much so.
What
I
you
don't want
thought
to
it
say
would be?
not. Yeah, it was very much so not my scene. It was a much bigger crowd. There was a lot of people with a loud music, and it was I don't know that I would have actually enjoyed myself that much, and it probably would have gotten me a little bit anxious. I probably would have wound up. I don't think I would have drank, but I definitely would have left early.
Gotcha.
And then there was also just the idea of being out late or being up late. It just doesn't jive well with my bipolar, so I don't tend to being up after late hours.
Sure, man.
So yeah, that was probably the only really sketchy thing, or even kind of eventful bit. Much like you, I have kind of I wouldn't call them fitness or lifetime goals. Mine are more I think the word meandering is the way that I would describe my goals. But slow and steady wins the race sometimes, and
Sure.
I'm just kind of moving at my own pace. And anytime I am tempted to drink, I'm still not strongly tempted to drink. It's still not a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds pretty familiar. I don't know. I
Meandering goals.
no the
Yeah,
not the urges aren't strong, but they're there. They exist. But everything that I've got going, they're all things that I want to keep going. For instance, the fitness goal stuff, I have a calorie tracker that I track everything. I'd say 98% of what goes into my body that isn't just water. I'm tracking all of it. If I was going to do that if I'm going to keep records that are that accurate, and I try to throw alcohol in on top of it, I'm not going to track the alcohol, but it doesn't matter if I continue to track the calories, because I will just be increasing the amount of to drink the way that I used to. It's 1,200 to 1,500 calories extra a day of alcohol.
Oh yeah. There was somebody asked me that the other day. I told her, it's 1,200 calories a day, probably, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
And she goes, that much?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's why I don't drink anymore.
That's why we no drink.
she's like, what do you drink, like a 6-pack? And I'm like, yeah, like a 6-pack.
Yeah,
and
to start.
That was, the 6-pack was to kind of get me at a good buzz.
Yeah. A 6-pack was basically just a starter kit.
Yeah. It's terrible. Like, just not. Yeah. She anyway was really threw this person off. They're like, that many calories? I'm like, yeah. So it's no big. Basically the I think the point I was making with her was, I dropped a ton of weight when I first quit drinking.
Yeah.
And it has not been that difficult to keep it off, because I just maintain a very simple diet and I don't drink, and not drinking is huge. And it turns out my body can process a certain number of calories per day. It just really struggled with the extra 1,500 calories.
Yeah.
Like a 3,000 calorie a day diet. That's not what. And I'm
I mean, it depends on what
active lifestyle.
It depends on what you're doing. Like, I eat 2,800 calories a day, and that's underneath my maintenance. But I'm also in the gym, 3 to 4 days a week, lifting incredibly heavy. Like, I'm in that range very specifically, but I am also always fucking hungry because I'm burning calories trying to build muscle. If I added booze back into my diet, I would be somewhere in the 4,000 to 4,500 calorie a day, and I would gain so freaking much weight so quickly.
Oh yeah.
So and it would all be fat weight. Like
yeah. It's like buying a whole new wardrobe because nothing fits. Like, yeah.
Which I've already done in the positive direction. I don't want to do it again. All right.
Yeah. It's harder to maintain, but yeah, I'm with you, man. I have a lot of good reasons to not drink, and it's not all of them are like the cautionary tale ones either. Some of them are things like, I like having my clothes that fit.
Yeah. There can be practical. There can be simple, stupid, practical reasons to not drink. Okay.
Yeah, I can only imagine how much
right.
worse my knees would feel if I was any heavier. My God.
Yeah.
So anyway, good times, man.
Yeah, well, good check-in, man. Good check-in. Do you got to go now, or?
I was gonna talk through this last piece, but I was gonna drop before
gaming. Okay, all right. Let's move on then. So tonight's question is one that has come up a couple times while I've been sober. The first time that I heard this kind of subject pop was while I was in intense outpatient therapy, and just about a week ago I had a phone call with a friend who is in sobriety and is very fresh and had questions about how to help somebody. If you're fresh in sobriety, how can you help somebody that's like been in sobriety for a while but is possibly going to relapse? Like, how do you deal with that? And it got to a place where I think that he was talking about this other person that was in sobriety using marijuana. And the question that I have for you guys and for myself is, what do you think about the idea of using marijuana while you're in sobriety for alcohol?
I don't have a problem with it.
You don't have a problem.
I remember seeing the guys from AA and way back when I was younger, and they would meet, and I'd see them at like the Village Inn or the Denny's once or twice a week, and those guys, every last one of them was smoking cigarettes, and they have another addictive substance that they're tied to.
Sure.
But no, I mean, I think that marijuana for the most part is it's not highly addictive. It's not even mentally like addictive. Going without isn't going to kill you. Though the one person that I keep on going back to on this one is an interview I read with Jason Mewes.
Okay.
From Clerks.
Yeah.
And Kevin James.
Yeah.
His best friend. He talked actually about this specifically because he still smokes pot, and he was talking about while in sobriety still smoking pot. And to him, he equated it very similarly to just cigarettes, is the way that he kind of did it. It was a habit thing, but not like an addiction thing, is the way that he described it. And there's an interview on Reddit with him where he goes through a lot of this. It wasn't like really in depth. He was just like, "No, man, it's pot isn't that destructive. But drinking, he had to quit drinking and all the other drugs he was doing for sure.
Sure.
But those were all highly addictive and highly destructive, and he just doesn't view marijuana that way. That's why I don't have a problem. I mean, like, anecdotal evidence is all I have to go off of.
Right.
But I haven't seen any. I've never seen any evidence that marijuana is a quote unquote gateway drug, like certain people like to, shout out.
Sure.
And I also don't have any strong evidence to suggest that it's also something that would cause a relapse. So it's okay in my book until there's some sort of data that shows that this should not be, used this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Well, like it's interesting. The hardliners, especially like the two addiction counselors that were part of that IOP, both of them were like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that you should, the cessation of all substances, regardless of, like, you should be sober from stem to stern. No weed, no booze, no any other substances. And my experience with marijuana is pretty limited. It was never my drug of choice. I still wouldn't be interested in doing that in any way, shape, or form, really. Just made me sleepy and not able to complete thoughts, which pisses me off. I guess for me, it's one of those things where I have to, I weigh the possible benefits versus the possible negatives. If there's a tiny chance that I smoke pot and it makes me relapse, like it puts me in a state where I want to drink again, where it moves me to relapsing, I think that if even a 5% chance of that happening is too big a chance, considering how far I've come, how much damage I did while I was drinking, and what's important to me now. Now, I'm not at any way, shape, or form interested in being judgmental to anybody else's situation at all. I think that it's really, really important that whatever you do for your sobriety, that's your thing. It's 100% your thing, and I'm not here to do anything but add support if and when you need it. Happy to do all that kind of stuff. Personally, though, it's not something that I would ever feel comfortable like really engaging with again. I don't think.
Yeah, it's not for me. And to your point about not being able to complete a thought, I mean, I've told that story about watching Elysium with Cinco, where I couldn't follow the storyline because I was way too high.
Yeah.
And it was just really, really weird.
Yeah, and Elysium's not exactly like it's not Dostoevsky, all right? It's not that difficult to follow.
It was not that tough. I was not like trying to find the subtleties in Camus, like trying to go through or like even watch Shakespeare. It was that bothered me quite a bit. But
why is Matt Damon bald?
Yeah, there were so many. Why are they attacking that guy? Is that a spaceship?
Wait, are they in space?
Yeah, when did we go into space?
What's that?
Holy shit, Jodie Foster's in this?
What's that robot's name? Oh, it's Jodie Foster. Oh shit.
So the point I would make is that the only real point into what you were saying is if it's something that will work for you or is not detrimental, that's fine. I think that your addiction counselors, I mean, they're prohibitionists. They're more than anything else. I don't tend to classify marijuana in a lot of areas that I would classify other drugs. I mean, opioids are a lot more addictive and a lot more destructive.
Agree.
Fentanyl. We can name any number of prescription drugs that are more destructive and more dangerous.
Well, I think alcohol is more dangerous.
I think alcohol is incredibly more dangerous. But like I said, unless there's data that shows, I mean, like really solid data that can kind of like enlighten us as to how marijuana impacts or does not impact that sobriety.
Yeah.
Going after a prohibition of it right now without good data, really seems like it just seems like it'd be counterproductive.
Would agree.
I could see how other people would view it differently, but to each their own.
No, I got it. Steve, what do you think?
Well, just kind of echo really what both of you guys touched on, right?
Jesus Christ, would you please speak up and argue with us?
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'd love to. You know what? You're right.
There it is.
You're fucking wrong on all your points there. I agree. I think we're basing this off of feelings. We don't have any data in front of us.
Right. And to the watchers out there, the watchers and listeners, if you have data, bring it to us.
Yeah.
At versus save at the top, and you can find us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, all the places.
I'd be really curious to see what the data shows on that. I know that I get annoyed whenever somebody tells me like CBD it fixes, cures cancer or like whatever, like it fixes everything. Like Space Shuttle Challenger wouldn't have blown up if it hadn't, if they just had CBD oil.
Yeah, if they'd only made the gaskets out of CBD oil. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, like exactly. Just, I get annoyed with this idea that it's this cure all, but at the same time, when we talk about say pot with THC and all of that I would like to know if there is data that supports or refutes any of this. I imagine right now at this point it might be a little bit murky, but I'd be actually really curious if there is some solid information out there.
I gotta say the CBD icy hot shit is great. I love it.
Fuck you.
Is that just because it's icy hot?
That's not even like me, trying to be,
You masturbated with it, didn't you? You did, didn't you?
No, that would be
I knew it.
Very painful. But
gave your wiener some
sore muscle. I wish I had some right now. It'd be really nice.
Anyways, what were you gonna say? I did cut you off, and I apologize for that.
No, you're good. Like I said, I just think my inclination would be to say that. To stick to your point, or to your point of view, is that if you feel like it's going to mess you up, probably best to stay away from it.
Yeah.
If you did it and you could handle it, kind of like, this is me sitting on the fence here, to Ticky's point, like, great, more power to you. If you can do it and handle it, awesome. But if you think that there's any percentage chance that it would trip you up, I say you're probably better off without it.
Just don't go to the Halloween party.
Don't go to the Halloween party.
So the problem
that's a great point, though, because that's I think of it like triggers, right? I've had friends who, well, I only smoke when I drink. Okay, so if you're gonna do those behaviors, I could easily see the opposite being true, or not the opposite, but smoking a little marijuana and having a drink could go hand in hand if you're used to those behaviors, used to those patterns.
Sure. So, if there's a behavioral issue there, yeah, absolutely.
I could almost. Yeah, I think for me, I remember when I quit smoking, that was a very similar issue I had when I quit drinking, was the identity issue, and it was the how I view myself. And the identity I have, like the mental image of myself, always had cigarettes. Was always smoking.
Sure.
So it was like part of this, like kind of like this is what makes me cool kind of thing. And then I quit smoking, and suddenly it turned out that no, it just made me smell like an ashtray. I looked like an idiot. And but then when it came to quit drinking, right, that became another one of those identity issues where I said, well, no, I've always been drinking. I've had people ask me like, "What do you like when you're drinking?" And I'm like, "I'm fun. I'm like a really fun guy. I have like impulse control issues, and I talk too fast. But I actually think that I'm a really fun guy. My problem is that that's about 90% of the time. The other 10% of the time, I'm problematic. I'm moody. And then the next day, I still have issues with just not the hangover, but with my own attitude towards everything around me. No, it's destructive for me in a long way. But the point being that it's an identity thing. So for me, can I quit smoking? Well, I didn't think that I could, especially if I was drinking, but I managed to. Can I quit drinking? My image, will that allow me to? And I wonder if that's a good point. Is that something that if you associate marijuana with your own self-image, and you have that combination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
That was a little
That's
weird.
that's a really interesting point. No, I mean, a lot of people I know that smoke pot though don't drink. They're just, I don't know. They're just
Well, like, all
skinny
right,
potheads.
so Steve, you and I have a friend that smokes all the time.
Wait, you guys have a friend? And
Just
it's not
just
me?
the one, just the one.
Just one. Yes.
No, you're a co-host. That's a business relationship.
Oh.
You're getting the price of a Taco Bell
price of
combo
admission.
meal in 3 years when we finally monetize this thing.
Monetize all of this. Okay.
Yeah. No, but Steve, you and I have a friend that he's always high. I don't know when he's not high. Like,
Yeah. I don't know that I've seen him too sober very often.
I don't think I've ever seen him sober. ever. He is like, he's always super mellow, really kind, very funny, very sweet, really nice guy. I like this person very, very, very much. I have great interactions with this person. I would not say that based on all the things that I always see around him that he has a quote unquote problem. Do I think he smokes too much? Maybe, but I don't fucking know. Like, if I drank the way that he smoked, I would be dead. I would just be dead by now. Like, I would have already, like, either by my own hand or by drunken fate, I would be dead. But it is a different drug. I just don't know that if you're using it that much, I don't know if that's healthy or safe, or I don't know. I don't know. This is one of those moments where I hate the idea of being a fence sitter, but I don't feel strongly enough to condemn it because the evidence that I've seen doesn't point me towards that. There might be like an emotional sense that I have that's like, oh, it's probably wrong to do any drugs ever. But that's a completely irrational part of my brain that says that.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, just do the research and figure out how to. I don't want to say use the word
do your own
enable.
research.
Yeah, get
No,
really
I wouldn't
high.
say.
Will.
If there's research, if there's good clinical research,
Yeah.
and it is something that can either be enabled or should be recommended against or even stopped, cool. But that we don't right now. Like I said, we don't have the data, and most of the people I know who, I mean, I'd say like almost all the people I know who are like, quote unquote potheads or smoke pot or whatever, they aren't a threat to anyone, really. I mean, maybe at the gas station, at the when you're there trying to buy a candy bar, they might want to get one before you do, but they're just snacks, right?
Yeah,
More
but
like,
they'll be stuck thinking about the candy bar.
standing there like
just
man.
So I really want that candy bar. That candy bar reminds me of this one time that what was I here for? Oh, that's right, a candy bar. Wait, where'd the candy bar go? What was I here for?
Yeah, but again, I think that it just comes back down to that research. If there's data that suggests one way or the other, then I'm definitely willing to listen. But
oh yeah, 100%. This is one of those like.
But I'm just but I am now that you brought it up, I am kind of curious. Is there data that shows a positive correlation about sobriety and smoking marijuana?
Oh, that's a good question.
But I just don't have the data that shows either way.
Yeah, I feel like we get kind of caught in this almost morally puritanical idea that anything that alters our perceptions, that the way that any kind of a substance does, that it's automatically got to be a bad thing. Like automatically it's right off the table. And I can't tell if it's my inner addict trying to get high that thinks that, or if there's a rational part of my brain that's like, you know what? Let's slow our roll here. What do we know about certain substances? We know some of them are the way that we engage with them are inherently bad, so we should not engage with them. But are there others out there that can be engaged with in a completely safe manner? And what does that look like? So yeah. So I don't know. I'd be interested to hear an expert talk about it. Yeah,
that's all we got to do is find ourselves an expert.
I would like to find an expert.
And then trick them into coming on our show.
That's all we got to do. Just trick them. Just trick them. Trick them! So, okay, cool. Any final thoughts, Steve?
Nope.
Cheers. Any final thoughts on this, Ticky?
I've said too much already. It's cool.
Said too much. That's the only time I've ever heard you say that. Chirp, chirp.
Well, yeah, but if
He's
I
not
say
saying
anything,
he
then I'm
can't
just
say too
confirming.
much now.
Yeah. Shut up. You're not gonna trick me with that.
I was gonna get you. All right, man. We're gonna move on to gaming now.
All right. I'm gonna drop. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bud. Take care of yourself.
Bye now.
See ya.
PlayStation Plus versus Xbox's Game Pass. I actually think that Ticky would have been a good part of that because I think that he has the Game Pass. I think he does.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody on the other side there. Right?
Yeah, somebody on the other, because I don't have a Game Pass right now. I should have. There's no reason I shouldn't. I have an Xbox One.
We could table it into another time.
You want to table it to another time? Are you sleepy? Are you asleep?
We could discuss
Steve?
how I hate all these posts that I see of people who are finding PlayStation 5s.
Yeah, because you've got the money for that right now.
I mean, I don't, but that's beside the point. The point is that I never see them.
They don't exist. They're a fairy tale.
I see all these people who post like, I went to Target for cleaning supplies.
There it was, just sitting right next to the potato chips.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, you potato chip eating son of a bitch. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, we can table this till next week. I mean, we're running a little long tonight. Yeah. Sort of. No, we're a little under an hour.
We can talk about it if you want.
No, because it'll take forever. It'll just take forever. No, we'll table it to next week. So next week on the show, Game Pass versus PS Plus. Pros and cons. Are they good? Is it bad? Is it duty all the way around? Is everybody a winner? Is nobody a winner? Who's a winner in this stupid console war and all of its subsequent bullshittery? Instead, like every episode of the Save vs. Poison podcast, we like to shout out to the mutual support groups that we hope you turn to in your time of need. Alcoholics Anonymous, AA.org, 212-870-3400. Moderation Management, moderation.org, 212-871-0974. Secular AA, which is www.aasecular.org, 323-693-1633. Smart Recovery, smartrecovery.org, 440-951-5357. And Women for Sobriety, womenforsobriety.org, 215-536-8026 for family and friends of addicts that need help in a little group environment. There's Al-Anon family groups, which can be reached at al-anon.alateen.org or 1-888-425-2666. From all of us here at the Save vs. Poison podcast, I'm Will.
I'm Steve.
And Ticky has flown the coop. We wish you warm, creamy regards. Good night, everybody. And we're clear.
Woo!
You've just listened to another episode of the Save vs. Poison podcast. If you liked what you heard, please follow us, like, and subscribe on Twitter at @VS_save, on Facebook at the Save vs. Poison podcast, and streaming live on Twitch at twitch.tv/SVP podcast. Thanks so much for joining us, and stay safe, everyone.